Very much, Christine. We've been talking about relationships this hour, and so now we're back with our panel. We have Marla Press, author of I'm a Dog, You're a Cat. We have Dr. Dia Van Young, also Terry Real and Mickey Grimlin, who are both therapists. All right, we have a lot of questions in our audience, so let's start off with our first person with a question. Hello there, ma'am.
This is a marriage question.
Okay.
If someone says, I don't love you anymore, can you make them love you again?
May I? The quick answer is hell no, you can't. But to be quite frank with you, you should appreciate the fact that they're honest, and relationships grow as people grow. Life is evolutional, seasons change, so the person that you married, even 3 to 5 years later, they aren't the person that you're with. So what I suggest that you do in order to avoid that happening to you is that you look at your relationship and communicate frequently. Make sure that you are aware of the changes not only in the other person but within yourself, and you effectively communicate them. That way you don't wake up in the midst of a nightmare.
And you have to ask that question, which oftentimes happens when we talk about stonewalling, when you don't communicate. And sometimes I think a lot of us, we know something's coming, but you try to avoid it. Or you go out and do things like women. I can't tell you how many times in fact, I ran to a friend of mine recently who said, I think something's changing, so I'm going to get Botox. I'm like, Botox is not the answer to that. If you want to do that for yourself, that's fine, but that is not what's going to fix your problem, all right? So, but it does open the door to at least ask, what changed?
Yeah, what changed? And you have to say to yourself, if I'm not being loved and there's no give in that, what am I doing there? I mean, you deserve to be cherished. And if he isn't going to cherish you, you go out and find somebody who will.
That's good.
Or you ask, yeah. All right, hi there.
My question is, how do you find the balance to where sometimes you give too much attention and you feel like you're smothering them, and then if you don't, then you go to like not give them enough attention at all?
Yeah, I got an answer for that one. You ready? Ask her what she wants.
And let me just add, it's got to be tough being in the military. I grew up in a military family. There are times that my dad was gone for long stretches of time. So I'm just curious to know, for those of you who are married in the military and have served, overseas, how tough is that? How do you keep that together?
I think for it's the biggest thing is you just have to, it's just love each other and communicate. And as long as you know your partner and you communicate well while you're there, whether email or...
Yeah, and today you have email and
there's
Skype
just,
and stuff
I mean,
like
we have
that.
Skype and email and different... It's communication and trust.
Yeah.
And
Mickey?
One of the things that Terry talks about in his book is about cherishing your partner. That you really have, and to do that you have to focus on the positives, not the negatives. We all have negatives. We all have our dark, shadowy selves that live inside of us, every one of us. Focus on the positive. Cherish your partner.
One of the things I say is the best way to get more of what you want in a relationship is to appreciate what you're already getting. Build on your strengths. Don't harp on your weaknesses.
And just to put a little icing on that cake, prior to getting married, there's this old saying that good relationships are the result of love and a lot of bad relationships are the result of a lack of it. So make sure that prior to getting in a relationship, the first person that you're in love with, and not narcissistically so, is you. The second thing is look at what is it that I need and what are you going to put up with when you decide to take me on as a project, because when you get married, that person becomes your project and you're their project. So be very honest about not only who you are, but who you are not.
But there's something that the unconscious does. When you meet somebody, you meet their representative. And it takes about 18 months to get to know the real person. The projections have to drop before you really know a person. So don't get married right away. Figure out where their dark shadows lie first.
And if you can deal with that. All right, next question.
I want to know why most men, well, not most, but a lot of men, although they're married, they act like they're not. And you can spend a whole year talking to someone, he's trying to convince you that he's not married, and the whole time you find out, a year later, he is.
You can take them now.
Okay, well, you know what I'm going to say? You used to be in the adult industry, and you used to stand there looking at all these men and going, look at all of those wedding rings, because that just kind of blew your mind.
Well, here's the truth. Men often marry for the wrong reasons, just to be really honest about it, and they marry because they want to keep control or they want to appease that woman. I would suggest to any woman as well as to men, before you make a commitment to say that if you get sick, I'm going to help change your chafe. I'm going to love you when you lose your job and give you my entire paycheck to make sure you're okay. Before you make those decisions, be sure that you really understand what you are getting into, because there is, one, nothing wrong with being single. Two, there's definitely nothing wrong with taking your time in a relationship, because what you said is true. People meet your representative. And by about 18 to 24 months, again, which is very true, that's when you find out whom you are really dealing with. So, ladies, before you start putting a title, this is my future husband, this is my guy, become friends first, and you're going to find out a lot about that guy and by how he treats other people as well as how he lives his life.
I always say, interview the last girlfriend. You'll find out a whole lot of stuff. All right, we'll be right back.